Now at 10, tensions and tear gas at anti-ICE protests near San Antonio.
Sparking the protest, outrage over a 5-year-old boy from Minnesota being detained in Dilley. Today, Congressman Joaquin Castro visiting with Liam Conejo Ramos and his father at the detention center. A photo of the child right here went viral after he was detained by federal agents. Outside where Liam is being held, protesters calling for his release. They were there for several hours today, and then at one point, a violent turn. DPS troopers firing tear gas to clear the crowd.
Tonight, Democratic leaders held a rally calling for an end to ICE operations around the country. We have team coverage of today's developments. Tonight, we begin with Megan Reina, who's live downtown, with the latest on the situation in Dilley. Megan?
Well, EC's Henry, hundreds of protesters from across the state came to Dilley to show their support for the families that are in the detention center there. While the protest was going on, U.S. Representatives Joaquin Castro and Jasmine Crockett were inside the facility visiting with 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father. Marching 2 miles from downtown Dilley to this ICE detention center, protesters showing their solidarity for the families inside.
You know, everything just felt good, and then all of a sudden this bus shows up with all of these state troopers.
But around 3 p.m., a DPS spokesperson says they gave about 150 protesters orders to leave. They claim protesters started crossing the barrier they created and even spit on officers. However, Misty Barrera from Houston says that's not what she witnessed.
He was like, hey, we'll get 3 warnings. We got 1. And then gas bombs were going off literally above my head.
What is the reaction to those protesters being tear gassed outside of Dilley?
You know, I was inside, so I didn't see anything of what happened. You know, I did tell ICE that the country is very alarmed and very angry about what happened to Liam.
Meanwhile, Congressman Joaquin Castro was wrapping up a visit inside the facility where for 30 minutes he met with 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father, who is from Ecuador. Liam's story caught national attention when an image of him being detained in Minnesota last week went viral.
His father said that Liam has been very depressed since he's been at Dilley, that he hasn't been eating well.
The Department of Homeland Security claims its agents tried to get Liam's mother to take the boy, but she allegedly refused and abandoned him. A federal judge ruled Tuesday Liam and his father will not be deported for now. Castro says Liam and his father came into the U.S. legally by seeking asylum.
Donald Trump talked about arresting, in his own words, criminal illegal aliens. You don't go to Dilley, a facility that right now has 1,100 people in it, if you've committed a crime.
Castro, along with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, says they visited with several other families as well who tell them their children are struggling mentally. But the rally ended when a single counter-protester yelled from a megaphone calling for all undocumented people to be deported.
Go find some other country.
Well, in Dilley, DPS says they arrested 2 protesters for several charges, including resisting arrest and interfering with public duties. Reporting live downtown, Megan Reina, KENS 5.